welcome with another Hot Tea with Pleasure. I am Hillary in Ontario, Canada.
And I am Colette with Love in Toronto, Canada.
All right. Well, welcome to Hot Tea with Pleasure, where we keep it raw and real. Check out our social platforms, Instagram, watch us on previous shows right here on YouTube, and listen to our podcast on RSS, where you can change to your favorite podcast platform. Oh my god, I'm tired. That includes Spotify, Google, anything that you listen to, you can hear it there. And of course, we're also on TikTok. Remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And come join us and lubricate your life. Okay, so Colette, what are you whining about?
I'm whining about the fact that deals are not really deals here in Canada. Okay, it's
Well,
like $8 off, $5 off, but they make it seem like it's 50% off.
but you know that the Black Friday is actually American. It's not really Canadian.
Yes, right.
Canada's trying to get some money off of that whole thing,
Yeah.
and we end up getting discounts.
Yeah.
I think sometimes they market the price and go put it up there and say seventy five
Yes, that's what
percent.
everyone's saying.
Yeah, and it looks exactly like the last price you saw. You're like, that's
Yeah,
exactly the same
exactly.
price I
Especially when
saw
those
last
taxes
week.
hit.
uh,
Exactly.
yeah.
Scam. What are you whining about?
I'm always worrying about the winter because I'm still in Canada. No, I'm joking. Um, what am I whining about? I think what I'm whining about is I'm actually pretty happy today. But what I will whine about is the fact that we still don't know, and I'm going to hold up my coffee cup, okay, whether or not we're going to have a warm winter or a cold winter. You know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be El
Yeah.
Nino, and we really don't have as much snow as we normally have, which is okay with me. I'm sorry for. I am all about the environment, but I know where I live too. So I am really confused as to how to dress sometimes. So I'm whining
Mhm.
the fact that we need to make up our minds about whether or not this is going to be a warm winter or a cold one. So
Yeah.
I wanted to hurry up and make a make a decision. But February's coming up, so I'll be quiet. Okay, let's get on with the show. We have a pretty serious show tonight. We're
Yeah.
talking about human trafficking. Um, so again, welcome to Hot Tea with Pleasure. Colette, you want to tell us a disclaimer?
Disclaimer, the information here is researched and is being shared.
That's right. And some of it is our own opinion. I am an advocate for human trafficking for sex workers. So I will put my input there every so often. But let's get on with the show.
All right.
Yeah.
So for human trafficking and what is it,
Yeah. So what is
right?
human trafficking? Yeah.
hmm
Why don't you tell us?
Human trafficking involves the recruitment, transportation, harboring, and or exercising control, direction, or influence over the movements of a person in order to exploit that person, typically through sexual exploitation or forced labor. It is often described as a modern form of slavery.
Yeah. And this is the thing
Traffickers,
about slavery of um, the whole history of African Americans and the slave trade for the Caribbean as well as African Canadians. We don't call it what it really was, and what it really was human trafficking at a very high rate. Exploitation. I mean, everybody gained a lot from that particular act of slavery, and it was camouflage behind the doors of racism. But if you really deep dive into it, you would have seen that a lot of it had to do with human trafficking of persons, and the treatment of them is what we saw and what people focused upon. But there was another piece, and that was the profit that came with that. Traffickers reap large profits while robbing victims of their, freedom, dignity, human potential, and great cost to the individual and society at large. Traffickers controlled their victims in various ways, such as taking away their identity, their passports, for example, sexual abuse that's used as a weapon, threats, intimidation, physical violence, and isolations. The UN, which is United Nations, has estimated that illegal activities generate approximately about $32 billion US annually by its predators. So, yeah. Do you know that sometimes, actually, I'll ask you this question. Do you know the difference between smuggling and human trafficking?
Smuggling, it's a consent action,
Mm-hmm.
whereas trafficking, there's no consent given. But before this, I didn't really know that,
Mm-hmm.
actually,
Yeah.
that there is a difference between the smuggling and the trafficking.
Yeah. So, because smuggling involves people being moved based on their, they've approached a person or to move them to a different location, and they've probably paid them to do that. There's a lot of consent involved in that one. It's still
Okay.
dangerous, and sometimes
Yeah.
it does end up in a trafficking situation where they've been the person has paid to move to, like, say for example, the United States, and then when they get there, although they've paid the person $6,000 maybe, then now the individual is saying I need 30,000 more, and then it becomes a trafficking situation. But smuggling is different than trafficking, and so people do get that confused quite a bit.
Yeah. Okay.
So who do you think are at risk for human trafficking, Nicolette? Colette?
Who? Well, anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone can. We know that anyone can fall victim to this crime, although women and girls represent the majority of victims in Canada.
Yeah,
Um, those who are at risk also include Indigenous women and
very
girls,
much so.
migrant.
There's actually a couple of documentaries about indigenous women that and they're and being taken. There is the you ever heard of the orange T-shirt movement? You ever heard of it?
Oh, yes,
Yeah, that
yes.
has a lot to do with that. New immigrants and migrants,
Hmm.
they're at risk. Do you know why they would be at risk? Think about it. Immigrant, new immigrant, migrant,
I guess because they don't know too much English, maybe if they don't have much English,
or their
or maybe
rights.
because they're new and they're vulnerable.
Yeah, they're very vulnerable. Yeah, they're protected people, and then also
Yeah,
to their rights. They don't know the rights of them because
true.
some people that are coming into the country are coming from countries that they don't have any rights, or they have limited rights, or there is a big separation between authority and them, and the fear that
Hmm.
runs through them. Another thing too is they're afraid of being deported. Um, that threat is there, or it could be shame. It could be so many different things when it comes to new immigrants and migrants. And then also, as I said, it could be a situation where they've actually paid to be smuggled into the country, and now that they've gotten
Hmm.
here, became trafficked. Another big community that, what do you think? I should say a question. What do you think is the next big community that is vulnerable to human trafficking?
Um, the 2SL GBTQI
Plus.
plus
Yeah.
persons.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know, why do you
Actually,
think that they're at risk for trafficking?
I actually don't know, actually. This actually is a surprise to me. I didn't expect them.
That's not
I don't
surprise.
know.
That's actually one of the biggest communities for that, and that has to do with a lot of societal understanding of that community.
Mhm.
A lot of people being rejected by family, not having support system, not having an outlet or economical ways of supporting themselves, end up in prostitution and or abusive situations. And unfortunately, we're still need a little bit more education behind that community, and
Hmm.
it leaves them very vulnerable to that kind of act. And then, of course, there's children and youth, which is
Hmm.
an obvious thing, and we can kind of make any kind of assumption as to why they will be vulnerable, and the fact that they're youth or children makes them vulnerable. You know, their understanding of society, their understanding of their rights or what is right or wrong can be a little bit confusing. And in the child welfare system, for example, there's also a lot of abuse and trafficking. Unfortunately, those who are socially and economically disadvantaged. Anyone else you could think of?
Um, I guess unaccompanied foreign. I guess we'll go with the children there.
Yeah.
No one else I can think of
Well,
at the
migrant
moment.
migrant workers who may be particularly vulnerable to exploitation and abuse due to many factors. For example, language barrier, working in isolated remote areas, like people that work on farms, for example, lack of access to services and support, and a lack of access to accurate information about their rights. There
That's
was
true.
a case a while back here in Toronto. There was a farmer in, I think it was Hamilton, and
Hmm.
he was just treating his workers just really bad, and they didn't understand their rights, and it took a social justice person visiting the farm and speaking to the workers and letting them know that although they were just visitors here on a visa for work,
Hmm.
the work permit, they still do have rights. There are certain rights that are advocated towards them that apply to them, and not only that too. We here in Canada have the Humanitarian Act, which is beautiful. So unfortunately, a lot of farm workers or laborers that come in just for that under a worker's permit do not know their rights here in Canada, and that goes to the United States as well. Anyone else?
Individuals vulnerable to human trafficking include children in the child welfare and juvenile justice systems,
Mm-hmm.
including foster care, runaway, and homeless youth. Unaccompanied foreign national children without lawful immigration status, individuals seeking asylum.
Mm-hmm. And that would be refugee status, right? So
Right.
they do have they're very vulnerable. I, I it's pretty sad that a lot of people do come to North America to family or friends, and then the family has made a lot of promises to
Hmm.
that individual, and the reality is most majority of people in North America do have some kind of um, financial stability issue, and having an extra person it's a financial add. It could be stressful, and
Hmm.
then that person might become a victim to economical stress, ended up either in the welfare system or on their own into a country that they have no support after relying on their family member, and that can lead to so many different things, coming from a trauma situation as a person seeking asylum, and having the person groom you and make you feel as though that they're here to support you, and then taking advantage of that trauma, right? So how do you think it occurs, Colette, for youth, for example?
Grooming. Grooming definitely does. I have
So
to get
yeah,
into more here.
grooming is very much the way it happens for youth. Um,
Hmm.
so what do you think the signs of grooming?
Um,
There's a
give
couple of
info.
stages, but what do you think the signs start off as? Like for
Um,
how would you tell if a child was being groomed?
I guess by how they respond when a
Mm-hmm.
certain person will ask the question.
Hmm?
So gain info and trust.
Yeah.
So once a predator has like identified a potential victim, they will go to gain information about them and gain their trust. So this could be done through simple conversations online, or if they're in person, the predator may listen into conversation about the young person to learn details about their life. 42% of victims report their trafficker earned their trust within 1 month of meeting them.
Yeah. So, so when it comes to children, being trafficked, and there's normally places that you would commonly go to, like the park or whatever. Sometimes they'll say to you, "Oh, I saw someone in the car," or a white van, or some. They'll give those kind of descriptions. They'll see, someone in the neighborhood. So they normally stalk out the child for a little bit, and there's evidence that grooming is tactic work. You know, um, 85% of trafficking victims report that they've close relationship with their trafficker. Comes in the form of unfortunately a coach, or um, the the local guy that hangs out in the park that everyone sees feeding birds. So it allows the trafficker to manipulate and control their victims better in the future when grooming happens. So the goal is to gain their trust and often to make an emotional connection. So let's go through the stages of grooming. So the first stage is normally to gain info and trust, right? So you want to tell us a little bit about gaining info and trust?
Oh, it was about the predator being notified.
Right.
So they work to gain information
Mm-hmm.
about them and gain that trust.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be either through conversations or online.
Mm-hmm.
And the predator may listen to the conversation about the young person to learn about
Right.
details about their life. So
Right.
like learning their, yeah, learning more
Right.
about them so they can use it against them.
Yeah. And then the second step is normally filling the need. And this is the piece where I'm looking out now to you, parents, and to you, community. When you
Mhm.
see a child, the pattern change, or they feel down, or they come home and you ask them, "How was your day today?" And they said, "Okay," or "Fine," or "Nothing." Ask more questions, get more involved, find out what's going on, because that void of not feeling included or valid or valued can lead a child down to the path of being taken. So let's talk about filling that need.
Next, will look for a need they can fill. So this may simply be by buying the victim something like a new phone, jewelry, or clothes, or
Mm-hmm.
giving them cash, drugs, or alcohol. Some predators may provide support to a young person that is not getting this at home,
Mm-hmm.
while others will develop a romantic relationship with the victim and promise them love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some have
Some.
predators.
Yeah. Hmm. Some even promise like a job, for example,
Mhm,
to the victim, or often like a music or modeling industry. That's a big one.
mhm,
Modeling industry.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and using the promise of glamour and excitement to form that
Mhm,
connection with the victim. So let's talk
mhm.
about isolation.
All right, so the predator will begin to isolate the victim from their support system, whatever that may be. So it could be from their family, friends,
Hmm.
sports teams, school, choir. The goal is to make their victim more reliant on them, sorry, and drive a wedge between the support system and the victim.
Hmm. And then there's the fourth um, stage, and that is abuse and control. So 4 5.
Hmm.
So once the predator has accomplished this kind of abuse and the control, that's where it starts. The moment the victim has experienced this level of trauma, in the way in which their brain function starts to change. The brain goes into survival mode, essentially, and only focuses on the basic needs of survival, like food and sleep and safety, making escaping from that predator harder and harder. So things, they might say something like, I do what I am told I will get to eat and sleep, and he won't hurt me anymore. So it's pretty sad that we live in society where this continues to happen, and it's not only a North American issue; it's worldwide. And yeah, so what are some red flag behaviors, Colette, for grooming?
Red flags, an adult paying a specific young person more attention than others. They
Mm-hmm.
may just be paying them compliments or buying them small gifts on an unnecessary level.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Slowly isolating a person from family and friends. This may be in the form of a physical isolation or emotional isolation. Undermining a young person's supportive relationship, saying things like, no one understands you like I do to cause
Yeah,
division.
that's a big one. No one
Yes,
understands you
manipulation,
like I
pretty
do.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, making them feel as though that they're their support, that they really get them, they really understand them, they really want to protect them, and no one else is gonna, you know, is gonna give you love and understanding that I will. Everyone's against you. Yeah,
Yeah.
go on.
Any mention of older boyfriend or new friends without
Mm-hmm.
a lot of other
Red flag.
information. Yeah. Having new things that you did not give them,
Mm-hmm.
such as clothes, jewelry, electronics,
Cell
money.
phone.
Ups.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Often they can't or won't explain where it came from.
Right.
A young person being uncharacteristically upset, withdrawn, or distressed. So if a young person's being, like distant.
Yeah. Their personality change. Right.
Yeah.
Their patterns change.
Yeah.
Play close attention to your child. You should know when your child is different. Like something happened. Like all of a
Yeah.
sudden, the very outgoing, fun, exciting, and challenging child, uh, and challenging in a good way. Is now
Hmm.
quiet and withdrawn and shy in a way and ashamed. Those are flags. Hmm. Go on.
Young person having more sexualized behavior or
Yep.
language that is not appropriate, age appropriate, or
Hmm.
consistent with what you have taught them.
Hmm.
Spending more time away from home or going missing for periods of time,
Hmm.
spending more time online, secretive behavior, a sudden drastic change in behavior, attitude, and appearance. While this doesn't always mean grooming, it usually means something like bullying or any forms of abuse and should be addressed.
It should
So
be addressed.
definitely be
That's right.
aware.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the one thing. So again, for young children, it's normally grooming that happens with them. That's how the predator gets to them. But for adults, traffickers employ a variety of control tactics, the most including physical and emotional abuse and threats, isolation from friends and family, and of course, economical abuse. I'm
Yeah.
just looking at the time. Let's talk next about the 5 stages of human trafficking. There's luring, there's grooming and gaming,
Mhm.
coercive, so that's like psychological, and manipulation, exploitation, and lastly, recruitment. That's when they
Yeah.
get you,
Oops, 5.
right?
Yeah.
Did you just count and go? Yeah, the coercive and manipulation is one. So control, psychological control. That's one.
Yeah.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about that. I see we have a few more minutes left, and then we're gonna take a break and then come back in. But let's finish out with. Oops, I am opening the wrong thing here. You want to go, Colette?
So we're gonna go through the 5 stages, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So stage 1, luring. So sex traffickers approach potential victims in various ways, so including pretending to be potential boyfriend or friend, posting newspaper or internet ads for jobs and opportunities, or even threatening or
Mhm.
kidnapping them.
Mhm.
Often false promises are made to these victims about money, new clothes, work, or education opportunities, like how we discussed before, and financial for aid for their families.
Mm-hmm.
So, luring could be assessing the right person, testing their vulnerabilities and boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
determine whether that person is looking for what they're selling, testing the waters to see if that person's open to dating,
Mm-hmm.
collecting as much information as possible about them, making them feel special.
Yeah, one of the luring ways they will, especially online, they would tell, the child, for example, or even the adult, like, you know, uh, just meet me by the coffee shop. You can, I'm not going to do anything to you. We can go there, have a coffee. Try to
Mhm.
make for young girls. They try to make it an adult situation where the child feels a little bit more mature by doing certain things. We can have a glass of, um, uh, you know, ginger ale, and we can make it look as though we're having champagne. And try to make it look seem exciting and new and
Yeah.
fresh. So social media is one of the biggest ways now that a lot of these predators are coming
Yeah.
through, and our children are on there on things like Facebook and Snapchat and
Mhm.
Instagram and TikTok, especially. That one is a big one right now. And the kids or our people are naive and needy, and they that's an easy access. So you be mindful of what your children and your friends, because not only children are lured through social media, adults can be lured as well. And when we say
Yeah.
trafficking, it's not a gender specific crime. Anyone can be trafficked, right?
Yeah.
So they'll begin things like liking your posts and even starting to send you private messages through apps. And this is mainly done towards youth and teens. Let's talk about we spoke about grooming earlier, and that is also coupled with gaming. Um, if you
I just
want to
want to add to
repeat,
that part you were saying about
yeah.
social media. I just want to say that social media has definitely made it easier for these guys, for
Oh
sure,
yeah, very
to
much
do their
so,
job.
very
Yeah.
very much so. Um, and one of the things that I know that they do through grooming and gaming is they will introduce them to illicit drugs, right? And
Mhm.
these are disguised as something for fun, so that you can try to make the child or you feel as though they're adult by doing certain things. And then use things like feelings and love and care to engage in physical intimacy. So let's talk about the third stage, which is manipulation, the control, psychological control. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. So, um, traffickers start sending mixed messages.
Mm-hmm.
Trafficker begins withdrawing, causing confusion. They use information gained against the victim, starts reducing information and compliments, toys with the victim's emotions, and behaves erratically to cause them to question the relationship. The trafficker begins to ask the victim to do sexual things that they might not be uncomfortable doing. Draws on their drug addiction, if relevant, to make them have sex for drugs or money, or make the victim feel in debt to the trafficker. And lastly, has sex with the victim, then does something for them, like take them shopping or give them money to make sex have a price.
And that was manipulation and control.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Exploitation. Let's do the next one. Exploitation, stage four.
Okay, and then stage four, trafficker has broken down the victim's self-esteem, threatens the victim and their loved
Mm-hmm.
ones based on information collected previously. It makes up it makes the victim feel adept to the trafficker. Um, Suggests that they owe them financially, that this leads the victim to believe they need help financially. The victim is at the point where they feel obligated to contribute in some way.
Mm-hmm.
We got emotional, mental, and physical abuse, intimidation, and control.
And
And
see,
lastly,
yeah, sorry, and
no worries.
that's yeah, that's the point, right? Is at that point, the trafficker
Yeah.
will normally convince the victim that they need to do sex work to support them financially, while
Yes.
isolating the victim from family and friends and ensuring no one can help them. And that
Hmm.
sometimes can be done through prostitution and them being the pimp, the boyfriend that becomes the pimp. There's just so many different ways that does occur. We'll talk
Hmm.
about the last one very quickly here, recruitment, stage five.
Stage five, in charge of teaching other girls. So, recruiters feel powerful and important, befriend vulnerable girls, and show them how great life is. And they have fewer clients, so they feel as though they are regaining power and control over themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, they that's where the trafficker normally use manipulation
mhm,
and of the victim and making them work for them. They use the victim to contact. They actually use the victim to contact younger women when we had the whole R. Kelly situation happen.
mhm,
Sometimes even friends and family introduce them to traffickers. This makes the victim, the original victim, feel as though they're indispensable to the trafficker and feel as though they are less of a worker and more of the girlfriend once again. So it's kind of a psychological gang warfare where now the same person that was being trafficked now becomes part of the issue. If you know someone that is being trafficked, please report them to here in Ontario. It will be the OPP, 1-888-310-1122. If you on the national, you can also contact the human victims of human trafficking. Can contact the victims support services, and the local one here where I am is 519-823-1212, extension 7304. And you can always contact Crime Stoppers or victim services, human trafficking services in your area, or again OPP or RCMP here in Canada. We will get some information about Barbados. I know Teresa's not with us this week. She should be back next week, but we will put some information on our platform about Barbados and trafficking there, because they do have a big problem coming in from other islands in the Caribbean, from St. Vincent, Jamaica, Trinidad, and Guyana. So, with that, we're going to take a quick break because, Zoom likes to kick us off. We'll be right back with more Hot Tea with Pleasures. I am Hillary in Ontario, Canada.
and I'm Colette in Canada, Ontario, Ontario, Canada.
Colette don't know where she at. We'll be right back with more Hot Tea with Pleasures. Stay tuned.
Cause when life and sugar, they just want to stick. The woman know they're thirsty and they want to taste it. Sugar boy, don't play with my head. If I can't get you, boy, I don't want no one else. Sugar boy, please understand. Don't ever give my dinner to another woman. You can go down low, you can go down low. When I come up so, you can. Cause when life and sugar, they just want to stick. The woman know they're thirsty and they want to taste it. Sugar boy.
Okay, and we're back. We're here. We're Hot Tea with Pleasures. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, RSS, your favorite podcast. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, let's continue with our conversation. You want to continue?
Yeah, sure. So, how do human traffickers lure their victims, which we did speak about, but we just want to go over
Mm-hmm.
that. So, traffickers use online classified ad sites as their main platforms. Another tactic is identified by polarists involved advertising for job openings at
Mm-hmm.
places appearing as real spas. People find out after getting hired though that the facilities force them into illicit sex services.
Mm-hmm.
So you also be careful of those job ads as well.
Oh gosh,
Going to
yes.
yeah for
Please,
interviews.
the not only the interviews but the modeling or There's
Right.
another one too that's really famous. A person paying for your ticket to go on a trip,
Right.
right? They'll say, you've been selected for a free trip to this particular place or whatever.
Hmm.
And, you call up the place, it's legit. There is a hotel by that name. There is a seat for you. Everything's booked. And you're like, wow, I actually want a trip. And you show up, and it's a hotel, all right, but it's a hospice. And yeah, you're being taken. So just be careful, be mindful. If you haven't applied for a card, if you haven't applied for a competition or contest, do not go to these trips because how think about it. How did anyone get your information? It's called
Yeah.
hacking. Okay, so be mindful and be careful about things that are coming free to you.
Hmm. And then when I go in here, I'm just gonna open it up here on the
So
side here.
we're talking about how human traffickers lure their victims, right? Online?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, sorry, I was looking for the part.
Well, I'll start from here, and then
Okay.
you can join in. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So let's talk about the internet recruitment, for example, offering promises of better life on social media. For example, people offer you details about their problems in social media or on their feeds. If you don't have an in-person support for these kind of struggles, many think they can find it on the internet. So unfortunately, human traffickers also are on the internet and on social media looking at those posts, and offering you things like marriage or a way of leaving the country. They often end up doing sex work in strange places where they don't know the language. So all the newness of the experience is so overwhelming to the trafficked individual that they stay out of fear. They have no way of getting home. They have no way of making contact, of making or get finding any kind of support. There are advertisements out there that offer you free travel or making you or talking about some kind of new adventure for you to go on. Or sometimes it includes a house where you can travel, all expenses paid. It's very appealing, what the offers are, and they normally target people that do not have a strong family unit. So, for example, let's say they asked you a question, collect about your parents, right? Or they want to know if someone has died, or you know, they want to make sure that you do not have any kind of support system, and if you do go missing, that no one will be looking for you. So a lot of times they do seek minors online, but again, adults are also, they're not off the table. Anyone can be taken, as we said, anyone can be trafficked. There's a lot of
Yeah.
indication of drug use and abuse and alcohol abuse that is used to cope. Normally, the person that's being trafficked, because again, it's a lot of trauma around sexual abuse, physical assault, and sometimes these young girls or young boys or men or women or children, I'm talking as young as 4 years old, might have be sexually assaulted at least 13 to 20 times a day. So it's very, very damaging for them. So you want to continue talking about that, Colette, or do you want to talk about the serious issue? Human trafficking online is a serious issue. You want to talk about that?
Uh, yeah. So anyone who's ever heard a friend or family member tell them that the internet is full of sex trafficking attempts should have take that warning to heart.
Mm-hmm.
The research here shows it's a genuine problem that requires people to be on guard.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and then it kind of ends there. But um,
Well, let's talk
it is
about
very
preventing
important
it for
online.
yourself. let's talk about preventing it for yourself, because I think we also exempt ourselves. We're like, I'm so smart. It's not gonna happen to me, right? But again, it could
Right.
happen to anyone, and it could be the simplest
Yeah.
thing. So, let's talk about some tips to protect yourself and your loved ones against human trafficking. Let's go down the
hmm
line.
So set strict privacy settings.
Everyone
All
thinks I'm
right.
weird because I really don't put much about myself online. Okay, a lot of
Yeah.
stuff that I do put online, it has to do with business, or it has to do with uh, advocacy or things that I am doing. But I try not to put too much about my family or my relationship. You cannot find anything about my relationship online, girl. And people will be like, "Oh, why are you not following him, and why he not following you?" That because it's none of your business. We follow each other in real life, okay? So I don't need to be on his social page, and he doesn't need to be on mine, because guess who else is on my social page and his? You. So I don't need. I need to keep. Sometimes you need to keep your personal life private. There's no need for everyone to
Yeah.
know every single thing about you. And I make sure that I clean my cookies, and I try not to put any kind of personal or financial information online either. I'm trying to
Yeah.
try as much as possible to limit that. Um, be aware of strange friends requests. I do not accept all requests. I only allow people to follow me, or sorry, I only follow others that I know
Yeah.
personally or have some kind of business contact with. If you send me a friend request and I do not respond, do not think that anything. It's not personal. It's just that I don't know you. I just don't know you, and I will comment on your feed. I will like your stuff or whatever if I do like it, but I'm not going to accept friends of those I don't really know. Yeah.
hmm Yeah. And then don't overshare, which we talked about just now.
Mm-hmm.
Not oversharing.
Yeah, your personal stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I find we do tend to criticize people who have that fake persona online,
hmm
but sometimes they have a good that's actually pretty cool, because they don't share their the actual personal real life with their
Exactly.
audience to just show you the persona of what they want you to believe or whatever. And I'm good with that, just as long as they don't try to influence you too
Yeah.
much. Influence in like purchasing, that's fine, but influence in like trying to get you to come and now be with them, that is luring. So I'm not about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't
Every
give out your address ever. And
Yes,
if
do
you
not
ever,
give out your address. You ever see those people
yeah,
on TikTok or whatever, and they doing their TikTok, and the address is right behind them?
yeah, it's not good. Don't show your neighborhood either, because it's very
Yep.
easy to find out on Google Maps on where you
Mm-hmm.
are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also never post your videos. If you're going to post a
Real
video,
life.
post it long after. Yeah,
Yeah,
not like yeah.
exactly. And be aware of advertisements that seems too good to be true. They normally are.
hmm
Or that weird number that keeps texting you and tell you want something. Click here. Flag it, don't share it. I'm
Yes.
always about that.
Know
Know
the
the warning
warnings.
signs of trafficking. That's very important that you do know that, and get help to raise the alarm. If you feel as though that
hmm
you're in risk of being trafficked, please tell someone. And normally, it's the best to tell the police, or reach out to your local shelter or agency that does advocate for human trafficking. So, what do
hmm
you know? What do you do if you know someone is being trafficked, Colette?
Always call the police in an
Yeah.
emergency. In an emergency,
Mm-hmm.
if you suspect you or someone you know is a victim of trafficking, consult your local law enforcement. Do not take any perceived risk or try to intervene in a situation that has the potential to turn violent.
Now, you
Potential to
remember,
turn
human trafficking is a $32 billion crime.
violent.
32,
Yeah,
sorry, I should say business, because that's how they see it. They see it as a
right.
business. $32 billion. So just think about it. Okay, if you
Mm-hmm.
protect your hundred or thousand or even $1 million in your bank account, what do you think a person that is in the industry of $32 billion is going to do to you if you try to
Yeah.
intervene, right? So do not put yourself at risk. Be a witness and report it to the local authorities.
Yeah.
Um, I'm going to go a little bit more in depth in talking about that because I think people have to realize how serious and dangerous it is to, intervene, and what is the safest way to do things. So if you suspect someone is, is being trafficked, again, as we said, consult your local law enforcement. Do not try to intervene, as we said. If you
Mm-hmm.
approach the victim, always choose the right time and place to have a full discussion. You're both safe. It's again, I believe in witnessing and not getting too involved. You don't want to put that person in jeopardy. You have to respect what they're telling you to do. If they say, I don't want to talk to you, they probably know the trafficker is close by, or they're really afraid. You can establish a rapport with a victim, but again, trust and make sure that you are safe. It doesn't make any sense putting yourself in danger to help someone when you're actually putting both of you in danger. Let the
Yeah.
professionals do the work. The police know what to do, they know how to deal with these people. They have the weapons that they can use to protect themselves and the victim. Let them do their job, because you most of the times it's going to be very hard for a person that's being trafficked to trust you, especially if they've been in that system for a very long time. Um, but listen carefully and let them tell you their story at their own pace. Do not push or try to, be a superhero. It's not that kind of situation. It's a very, very dangerous situation. Be aware of understanding that these kind of symptoms that you're actually seeing is based on trauma. They've dealt with this kind of traumatic experience for a very long time. So, violence, isolation, fear, and psychological manipulation. All of these are symptoms, and sometimes they do have memory loss. They're very irritable sometimes, depressed. There's hypertension or vigilance, and sometimes there's antisocial behavior. So you can ask questions or provide assistance, but do not ask questions out of curiosity. That might be causing more trauma and also to victimization. Focus on determining, what the person's immediate needs are. Like, do they need water or food or shelter or
Mm-hmm.
police? If possible, you can enlist help for someone else to speak to them. Like, say there's a language barrier, so you can understand their culture, or and again, you can offer support that from different agencies in the community, or if the person is female and you're male and they want to talk to a male because they're afraid because their predator is male, find someone that can help. But again, as I said, be more of a witness and reach out to the police and authorities for help. Provide information of services in the community, as I said, whether it be federal, provincial here in Canada, or statewide in the United States. And remember, confidential is essential for the victim's safety. And one more time, be more of a witness. Reach
Mm-hmm.
out to the police. Anything you want to add, Colette?
Um, trafficking victims should first and foremost be treated with dignity and respect as persons needing protection and services, but able to make choices for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Provide as much information as possible, your role, what you offer, your services, what will happen next, so the person can make an informed decision and begin to regain control of his or her situation. So don't try to, I guess, don't bombard them, kind of thing. Like, kind of don't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's such a sensitive, but at the same time dangerous thing. You might really want to help, um, and you have to realize that by you witnessing, you are doing such a big help to them. The Canadian Human Trafficking Hotline is 1-833-900-1010. It's a toll-free number. It's 24/7. The U.S. Hotline is 1-888-373-7888 is the National Human Trafficking Hotline. Again, that is also 24/7. In Barbados, the Sex Crime and Human Trafficking Unit of Barbados Police Service is 430-7332, or you can call 246, no, yeah, 246-430-7333, you know, and you know, we're going to put those numbers and information on our platform on YouTube. You can check them out there. But let's talk about 10 ways that we can help end human trafficking, because we are all about advocacy here at Hot Tea with Pleasures. What are some of the ways that we can end it, Colette?
Know the signs.
Yeah, no
Learn the red
signs.
flags and indicators of trafficking. Understand the myths and about trafficking with facts. So make
Right.
sure you know the facts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can report a tip.
Mm-hmm.
Again, be a witness, collect the information and hand it over to those on the hotline. They're professionals. Reach out to your local authorities, and tell them your concerns if you think you witness trafficking. What else?
Spread the word. Share and display HHS look beneath the surface. So, getting involved in the community, there's some resources there as well. So
Mm-hmm.
just, again, the National Human Trafficking Hotline, you can
Mm-hmm.
visit their website
Yeah.
as well. So those, yeah.
Yeah. And again, think before you shop. If you consider how you eat and where you eat, who made your clothes, where you prepare your food, know your goods, what's produced, is there child labor involved? Look at all of those kind of things. So again, know before you shop.
hmm Tell your friends demand fuels exploitation.
Mm-hmm.
So the U.S. government has zero tolerance policies for employees, uniformed service members, and contractors paying for sex. So learn about it again on their website.
Mm-hmm. And then volunteer locally. There, ask anti-trafficking organizations in your community how to support them. Perhaps
Mhm.
they need volunteers, or you can help, build awareness.
Stay informed. Again, there's an OTIP's newsletter, but basically look for the human trafficking website and stay informed in their newsletter. So they have a newsletter on their website.
Yeah, and they also have reports as well that are released annually or even monthly. You can also look at that on their news feed. And you can register for training. There are different ways, different organizations that deliver tailored training that's tailored to help professionals to identify or address the needs of people that are being human trafficked.
Use your skills. You can train or hire survivors. You can reach out to potential local partners or even in schools. So if you have a skill, use that, like writing a story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
propose any
definitely,
kind of anti-trafficking protocol, you know, um, even work pro bono if you're a lawyer or something like that. Um, Whatever skill you have that you can help out, you can
Mhm.
apply it to that. And then lastly, advocate.
Raise your,
Yep,
yes.
yep, come on.
Raise your voice. Raise it out. Address
Yep,
human trafficking. Let them know what your community needs.
exactly. So those are ways that you can help. And, there are other ways of getting involved. There's the 16 days of advocacy, activism against gender-based violence that is actually starting today, November 25th,
Mhm.
until December 10th. We have the day against trafficking in persons. That's in July 30th. And then there's one in January, Human Trafficking Prevention Month. It is designated to observe and designed to educate you about human trafficking and the role it can play to prevent and respond to trafficking. And
Mhm.
again, there's so many other ways and advocacies around this very, very, very bad practice. And just Google it, look it up, visit your local agencies, your local police, reach out on to the Human Trafficking Association. Just do your research and find a way to get involved and to help, because you never know who it could be. And I'm telling you, sometimes you might be in the presence of a person that's being trafficked and not even know.
Yeah.
All right, that was a heavy one. That was a
Yes, it
heavy
was.
one. Yeah. But you know
Yes.
what? I am very much about letting people know a lot about this. This is a crime that has gone on for centuries and centuries, and we have to find a way to end this. Next
Yes.
week, though, we're gonna turn back to a little bit more fun. It's getting into that Christmas spirit.
Yes,
My
Christmas.
favorite time of the year. Okay, so we're gonna have some fun, unique, and sexy Christmas gift ideas for your special one. Ooh.
Mhm.
I'm interested in what's going to be because. And so, Colette, you got anything going on? Because I know you are on that social media. What's going on?
Um, well, there was yes, we're gonna have some festive episodes, so we're
Uh huh.
just preparing that. But yeah, just stay tuned, guys. Stay tuned, stay
What were you
tuned.
saying about Amazon? You were talking about Amazon earlier today.
All right. So, every episode we're going to post a link to Amazon's websites of their deals. So we this one coming up,
Mm-hmm.
there click the link below in the description area there where you there's some Black Friday deals. Black Friday deals available for laptops, computers, basically electronics.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely going to take a look at that as well
Yeah,
myself.
you need a
So if you're
laptop, girl.
interested in getting if you're interested in getting a early Christmas gift
Hmm.
for whoever, click the link below. Even get for yourself. Why not?
Yeah, why not? Hey, Black Friday, they always give you real
Yeah.
deals. I mean, I've gotten some really good ones. That's awesome. And we also have coming up next year, early between, we're going to see where we can get it popped off between January and April. We're going to have my podcast that will be more centered around my book. And I'm excited about that. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. I know it's going to be so
Yeah.
much fun. I can't wait to do that. But I will still be here on Hot Tea with Pleasures with Teresa when she returns. Again, this is Hot Tea with Pleasures, where we keep it raw and rare and we lubricate your life and keep it moist. Okay, so Colette, I think this is the last show for you. You'll be back in the chat next week. We'll be back live on
Mhm.
Instagram, not Instagram, on YouTube. And I thank you so much for filling Teresa's seat while she was dealing with the death of her mom. And we wish her, we can't wait to welcome her back into the hot seat so I can make fun of her. No, I'm joking. No, we go back and forth. It's actually a good time. So I'm looking forward to a lot of what we have coming. As we
Mhm.
continue to struggle with the show. No, I'm joking. No, we know what it is. We're both of us. Uh, we're both entrepreneurs, but at the same time, we're not tech savvy, and so this was a really good, testing of what we need to do. But we do have a new platform that we will be going on to soon. Just testing it out and making sure that it has the best thing that we want to do, because we want to make phone calls and have some good one-on-one discussions and conversations. But having Teresa in Barbados and me in Ontario, it's a little bit challenging because there's not much built for that other than share a screen like this. So that's why we've been having all these issues around technology. But we're getting it together, people. So we're getting it together. And we're always excited to have our regulars come by and chat when we're live. It's always a fun time. So thank you so much for the continued support. And we hope that you join us again on Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live here on YouTube. Colette, with love, thank you so much. You take
Thanks for
care.
having me.
You're welcome. Come by anytime. We know you're always in chat. If you want to talk to
Yes.
Colette, you can hit us up in
Yes.
our chat any Saturday.
Leave some questions.
Yeah, leave some
Or
questions.
any episodes you would like to want any topics you want the ladies to talk
Yeah,
about.
of course. I can't wait
Yeah.
for our countdown. Our countdown is going to come at the end of December. We're going to do our countdown of the best shows that we had of
Right.
2023. Yes. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, collect with love, and everybody else out there in the happy land of YouTube. Thank you. And we'll see you next Saturday live on Hot Tea with Pleasures. Bye.
Bye.
But miss that's fact. Taking big swings, put your hand to the bat. Put me in the ring, you'll go out in a bag. Cause I sing what I mean and I bring it to the mad light. Ain't got time to kill, I got time to feel. I took a red pill, I know life's short so I wanna live real. But how's it supposed to feel?